Hey, communication ethicists, we are here in week 5 of COM 4100, communication ethics. And I know that your big APA paper was a challenge. I'm looking forward to reading them and getting you feedback, hopefully this evening and tomorrow. This is your Module 5 video where I'm going to quickly walk through what we're doing here in Module 5 and then overview the chapters so you kind of know your reading options. This week will feel very similar to what we've been doing in the class. You have 3 chapters that you must read in Part 5 of our textbook. You'll have a discussion board question and opportunity to respond to classmates, just like always. You'll be writing summaries and applications on 2 of the 3 chapters that you read. So there is an extra credit opportunity here where you can actually summarize and write an ethical dilemma on the 3rd chapter. So if you did a summary and application on all 3 chapters that you read this week, you would earn extra credit on the 3rd. There's also a comprehensive exam included in Module 5, and that exam covers all that we've read. So we did have a test in Module 2 over week 1 and week 2. So some of that content you'll revisit here in our final exam in the class. So for what we are reading this week, everyone is required to read Chapter 24, which is written by Wilkins, 2009, and covers the life or the ethics of Mohandas Gandhi, and it's called Fellowship of Power. The chapter begins by saying Gandhi epitomizes the concept of ethics because he says ethics is not what you have. You can't grab hold of it and say, I have ethics. It's what you do, how you live, the decisions that you make. And a huge part of that is reflected in the company that we keep and what community accepts as ethical. So kind of really connecting with this communitarian umbrella or stance here in our final week. For Chapter 25, everyone is also required to read about Karl Marx and his opinion on capitalism and how capitalism diminishes our personhood and makes us cogs in a larger machine, and that we do not reach our highest potential or see what we're fully capable of if we are just one little member on the manufacturing line. And Karl Marx is a huge socialist thinker, and I think most of you will enjoy some of his arguments and claims and why they value community and personhood. You get to choose a 3rd chapter to read in the 5th section, the communitarian section of the book. So your options are Chapter 23, Confucius. And Confucius is a kind of Chinese, or Confucianism is kind of a Chinese religion or philosophy, and Confucius is the kind of prophet person of that way of living and thinking. And he believed and argued and exemplified that people can be ethical by practicing key virtues. And White House 2009 says, people best live out their virtues in community. So that's why that's included here in Part 5. Your other options are Chapter 26, which is Dewey's argument on the importance of democratic conversation, so multiple voices voting and reaching decisions together. Chapter 27 is written by Allen, 2009, who presents to us the ideas of Jürgen Habermas. So that would be a hard one for you if you read it to maybe know how to pronounce Jürgen Habermas. So Habermas believes that consensus is an ethical component that tells us what it is to be a citizen in our democratic society, as Allen 2009 writes. So kind of similar to Chapter 26, Dewey's opinions about the power of democracy and communal voice. The last option that you have for Part 5 is Emmanuel Levinas. So that might be also a hard one for you to pronounce just for reading. So Levinas. And this chapter has a lot of key words, but it does have kind of a beautiful argument that runs through it, even though Levinas is trying to introduce us to all these maybe psychological terms. So he is arguing that we do have an ethical responsibility, which is called the ethical echo, so that it's kind of like has always existed, and we hear it even if we may not respond, and that the echo tells us that we have a responsibility to the other, and the other would be our fellow humankind. And so again, you'll kind of see some of these keywords, but Levinas is arguing that we should respond to and be responsible to this ethical echo. So that is a brief overview of what is required here in week 5 and the chapter options, including pronunciations and what each of those chapters is about. As always, shoot me an email if you have questions.